Welcome back to the Pipeline and People podcast. Today's guest is someone who has lived more business lives than most people meet in a lifetime. I'm talking with William Volpe.
Yeah, Volpe, a Cowboy, yeah.
William Volpe, aka Cowboy, founder of Project Victories. He has managed projects across nearly every continent, from the Middle East to Africa to South America. William, thank you so much for joining me today. Could you give a quick look at your background and how you got into this space?
Sure. I'm third generation military. I was recruited from my electronics school at the age of 20 by the United States government. I'll leave it at that. I was under secret clearance and floated all over the world from the North Pole to Cape Town, South Africa, to being the PMO manager for the Ministry of Interior of Saudi Arabia and a master business analyst at Hewlett Packard, to getting married in Ukraine during the war. So, and finally ended up in South America.
It's quite the journey.
Yeah, it is.
Your whole brand and your whole podcast, because I know you have your own podcast called BizUnLearned, right? Your whole
Yep.
brand is kind of around unlearning. You've said that there's no single answer for how to make a decision, even though people want formulas and guarantees. What do people get wrong about decision making in business?
Well, what do they get wrong about decision making in business? That's a good question. I mean, they try and stick to old ways of doing things. They try to avoid process. Agile is a project management process that was launched in Austin, Texas. It was all about eliminating the project manager and management and process. And failure rate on projects went from 50% to 70% and cost the world trillions of dollars. And so to try and get away from the things that just must be done is stupid. It's like, look both ways before you cross the damn street. Okay? I mean, these are basic concepts in life. Many people still think the streets are paved with gold in America. And so they flood there. I saw a headline this morning where they're suspending immigration for multiple countries in America. Meanwhile, the smartest people in America are already going. They're leaving. Okay? For example, down here, I only pay taxes in this country if I work for a company in this country. My company is offshore. No taxes. All right? It's a hell of a lot easier to make money if you don't have to pay 60% in taxes.
Yeah, I'm sure it is. So when it comes to unlearning, do you have any kind of personal experiences? Like what did you first have to unlearn when you started leading global projects and working as Project Victory?
Well, I'll tell you something that I always used to tell my father for 40 years. He was a Marine Corps sniper, did 3 tours in Vietnam. Granddad was in World War II in Korea under General Bradley. And I'm like, I'm seeing all my friends get married and have kids, and they're settling into these cubicle careers. Meanwhile, my ass is bouncing all over the world. And I used to tell my dad, I just want a normal life. And he goes, well, what the fuck is normal? He's like, this is your life. And so that was definitely something I had to unlearn. I was trying to be in this mold that society thought that you should do. I was trying to be in that mold, and that wasn't the mold. The mold was go where the work is and create your life around that. Build your business around that. It's online now. It's especially after COVID. Everything changed. I was teaching face-to-face classes in Thailand and Malaysia, everything else. But after COVID, we're online. I mean, we're doing this podcast right now online. That just is what it is. And so things change, and you just have to accept this is the way it is. And it's much like Wayne Gretzky. Skate to where the puck's going to be, not where it is.
Absolutely. That's a great quote. Yeah, I mean, the kind of socially acceptable path has always been go to school, get a job, get married, white picket fence. And a lot of people are stuck in that, and it's getting harder and harder to kind of escape from that. And now it's that dream is kind of being cut back. The houses are so hard to afford, the relationships aren't working like they're used to.
Yeah, it's huge.
How do you change that mindset to be like, okay, this might not be what I want or the path that I need to follow?
Well, you can probably see my background behind me here. This is just the front room of my current penthouse, which is like a wall of glass overlooking the city and a waterfall in the mountains. And to give you a reference of size, I have the whole top floor of the building, and there are two-bedroom apartments below me. And this is fully furnished with a jacuzzi tub, and electricity and water is included for $280 a month.
Wow.
What do you think I can do online?
Yeah. Fair. So you recommend just kind of getting out of the States, or what, if you had advice for
Absolutely.
other people?
I mean, this is a huge conversation that I have had with people, and they get stuck because, in all fairness, the schools train you to be an employee today. They train you to be a sheep, all right? And Bill Gates was once asked to go to a college to talk about entrepreneurship with an entrepreneurship class. And he got up on stage and he simply said, if you were entrepreneurs, you wouldn't fucking be here. They never asked him to come back again. I swear to God. But I thought it was funny as hell. And that's the truth. I'm on the board of advisors for Seton Hall University Business Leadership Program. And this comes up, go where you're treated best. Go where things are great for you. And people argued with me in America trying to say, I'm not leaving the place that my forefathers founded. And I'm like, you're an idiot. And it's like, well, why am I an idiot? And I'm like, because your forefathers left another place to found this place.
Oh, it's an interesting take.
And they're like,
yeah,
it's always, the idea of patriotism and being anchored like a plant or something like that is stupid. It's never been that way. It's just never been that way. And when you really look at the history and education, it's never been that way. Somebody came from somewhere and then rebuilt.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's, comfortability and stability, and people are afraid of change with their life and just move across the country anymore, or not even out of the country. And you mentioned that thing with if you were entrepreneurs, you wouldn't be here. What do you think are the traits and qualities and mindset of an entrepreneur? Everyone seems to have a similar but different kind of definition.
Well, they've got dreams. Okay, obviously, they don't like being trapped where they were, that type of thing. I couldn't do offices very well. I was just not really great at that, so I ended up in the deserts of Saudi Arabia and the wars of Ukraine and down in Africa and shit like that, right? I once told my friend that I've known for 20 years, he's also the VP of finance for the company, and I'm like, hey, they offered me an office job, and he's like, you? In an office? He's like, when's the last time you saw an office? He's like, I don't see this happening, man. But they definitely, they're not just dreaming of it, okay? They definitely feel true pressure to become that person, all right? I'm the kind of guy that in 6th grade, I was reading Small Business Magazine and Entrepreneur and shit like that because all of my family had their own businesses, And that was 6th grade.
Yeah.
I got recruited by the government, but I knew that wasn't going to last forever. And so I had to have something to fall back on later, even if it's writing books and teaching all over the world and that type of stuff. But definitely, and of course teaching goes with consulting. I'll teach a class for oil and gas, and these guys are going, damn, you just saved me $1 billion a day. He's like, do you do consulting? And I'm like, yeah, I do. One thing leads to another. You got to be willing to take those risks. If you look at how countries like America are structured, they try and tell you about the land of freedom. You can climb as high as you want, And the people there are like, yes, I want to be able to climb as high as I want. But if I fall, you catch me. And all of those programs that catch you cost money. Now, all of a sudden, when I was there, I was paying 50% in taxes because I was in the top 5% of the income bracket in America, and they wouldn't even let my wife in the country. So I'm like, sorry, I'm out of here.
Do you believe that that's like innate, or can people learn that? Can people change? Like, is it within people, or are they born with it?
I believe that people can change it. Yes. I believe that people try and change it. That's the reason Bill Gates was talking at his entrepreneurial program at the university. But Gates was also right. I mean, he's a dropout. Zuckerberg's a dropout. Dell's a dropout. I mean, they all dropped out and said, screw this. I'm going to go do my own thing. And they all became billionaires, right? Does that happen with everybody? No. People dream the dream and they'd love to learn how to do it, but they fear failing. And you just can't do it. You can't fear failing. You really can't. I mean, I've been shot up and shot at and failed and ended up in hospitals all over the world and every damn thing else and had some bad damn days, okay? I mean, when I got back to this country, I was down to my shit on one little airport luggage cart and $500 left in my name. And I stopped at the Chili's and bought a beer and walked out to the taxis. And the taxi driver was like, hey, can I take you somewhere? And I'm like, yeah, give me a minute. I don't know where. I had no plan, no job, one-way ticket, can't even go back. Wow. It was like, you better figure it out.
And how did you figure it out?
Well, I'm very happy about my project management skills. I just started one step at a time. The first thing I thought of was that I'd been following emails here, and there was a hotel, an airport hotel, that was owned by an American who came into the country pretty much the same way. And so I went to the hotel, bought some beer, made some contacts, went to another place, and kept step by step moving up, right? But that's what I thought. Get into the network, make the contact, say, hey, buddy, I've been reading your stuff for a while. I'm kind of in the same position. I'm like, this is my background, little help. And he goes, oh, man, you're going to fit right in. But you can't be afraid of talking to people. You can't be afraid of taking chances, all right? And you got to be adaptable. I mean, when my students ask me what to invest in, they're talking about silver or gold or Bitcoin or shit like that. And I said, invest in yourself because I can never take your damn skills.
Okay. That's awesome. So someone comes up to you random, maybe just on the street or like a friend, and they say, what do you do, Cowboy? What is your answer?
What do I do? I'm an execution expert, okay? Project management and business analysis is all about execution, right? I'm spending 3 days in this program with Jeff Walker. I guess I'm not afraid to use his name here since I'm a VIP. And there's at least 1,000 people in this program. And we have breakout sessions. And many times I talk to people in this program who have been buying, because he charges on a yearly basis, and they've been paying for $2,000 a year for his product, which gets updated yearly, and they haven't done not one single product launch. But they're paying $2,000 a year for it. And I'm like, what the fuck are you thinking? This is all about execution. Pull the trigger. I mean, fail, but fail forward. Okay? Pull the damn trigger. Do something. Okay? Really do something. You have to. That's huge. But people don't. They're afraid. They're afraid of failing.
Yep. Consequences of regret are always greater than the fear of failure.
Yep.
Execution expert. Can you tell me more about that? A client comes to Project Victories and says, William, I need help. What can you do for me?
Sure. I'll give you a very good example. Ministry of Interior of Saudi Arabia.
Okay.
Okay. I'm sitting in Texas and I get a phone call and it's like, and it's from a headhunter and it's like, listen, we need you to be the project management office manager for the Ministry of Interior of Saudi Arabia. And I'm like, okay, what's the project management office doing? And it's like C6 ISR, encrypted communications for the whole country for military and safety personnel. And I said, okay, cool. And it's like, not only are you a project management expert, but you're a comms expert. And I'm like, yep, I can do that. I didn't put in an application. I didn't know about the job. And it's like we have had people failing on this left and right. The last PMO manager that was here for 45 days before he packed his shit, got on the damn plane, and sent us an email from America that he quit. He just left in the middle of the night.
Wow.
I see. And I'm like, because they couldn't deal with the international change. They couldn't deal with being in Saudi. They couldn't deal with the danger of the situation where people just might try and kill them. And they couldn't deal with organizing a project for an American company who couldn't even open a bank account in Saudi Arabia and make it happen. So I went there and got everybody out into the field within 30 days. Boom, done. Execution.
Impressive. You talk a lot about AI on your podcast. I want to know,
I did.
How does it fit into what you do?
AI is a tool.
Okay.
Okay? And everybody should think about it as a tool. Will at one point in the future be doing appendectomies in a hospital somewhere? Probably. Will it take on 90% of law cases that don't ever go to court? Probably. Will it ever do project management? Never. Because project management is a one-time unique effort with a finite beginning and a finite end. AI needs something to learn from. This world has tried to make it into AI is going to take everybody's jobs. No, AI is going to take everybody's jobs that aren't educated or entertaining or anything else. All right? Is AI ever going to be Mariah Carey? Hell no. Okay? So, but it's definitely going to make a difference in the future. Definitely. You still got to give it guidance and everything else. For example, my first book was Guide to Project Management Life Cycles, and I wrote a lot. I had a research assistant for that. And that was back in 2014 when I started it. And could AI have done that? Yeah, that would have been great. Okay? It would have been a lot cheaper too, because I had to pay for a research assistant. But I still had to put the book together. Now, my second book was about my time in Ukraine, a personal story. Can AI tell my personal story? Hell no. So people need to learn that it's a tool, it's an assistant. They need to learn what it is and what it's not. And that's a lack of understanding. It really is.
I agree. And they're trying to make it Mariah Carey. Have you seen the whole thing about they wanted to make the actors and people are freaking out?
Well, I swear to God, actors, in 10 years, you're going to pluck actors out of a damn database, okay? And you're going to pay the copyright charge for it, and you're going to build your movie on a laptop in your damn kitchen. Okay.
Yeah, and
you don't have to worry about their drug habits or whether they show up on time.
Work them 24 hours a day.
Yep.
Yeah, and the opinion I think on AI is very controversial. You have a lot of AI haters. I'm not sure how involved with kind of social media you are, but there's this song going around, and the person that made it actually used AI to change his voice into a woman's voice. And you have half of the people that absolutely love this song, and then 2/3 of the internet are just not about it. But yeah, I mean, you said it's a tool, so I'm curious what applications you use it, both internally and externally at your business.
Well, I definitely have ChatGPT trained. Yep. It took a long while. It's still not quite as fast as I wanted to be. Like I'm working on a screenplay for my Insane in Ukraine book because we're looking at turning it into a movie. Huh. and it had to capture voice and everything else. And I didn't want everything to be a voiceover. I wanted it to create scenes, based on the book. And it took probably about a month to get it to do that. And now I can do about a chapter a day. Okay. And BizUnLearned, of course, we've already got a year's worth of episodes. And I'm trying to turn that into a book. And so I try each episode, transcribe it, and shove it into ChatGPT, turn it into a chapter for the book, And that takes about a day per chapter. Now, I do say a day per chapter because I'm multitasking, while it's doing its thing. And then I look over at it and say, what are you doing?
That's a very
What kind of bullshit is that?
But that's a super unique idea, turning your podcast into a book. Interesting.
Okay. So I'm going to take every 15 episodes and make it a new book.
Wow. Cool.
And there's a lot of stuff you can do there, but you still do have to treat it like an assistant, like a tool. Okay? You really do. And that's huge. And every now and then, my ChatGPT goes, okay, I fucked up. I'll do it the other way.
Yeah, you really have to train, because if you don't, it's just a yes man. It'll tell you anything you want to hear.
I swear to God.
Yeah.
You never have a bad idea when it comes to ChatGPT. And I did this once in my membership program because people were asking about it. And he goes, well, let's try this, right? We're in the membership group, which is a live meeting we have once a week. It's called the Success Team, and it's on Project Victories. And I'm kind of like, and it's being really nice and stuff like that. And I'm like, why are you such a kiss ass? And it's like, oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I've got mine trained to challenge my thinking, play devil's advocate, spot lazy logic, force clarity, push deeper, uncover blind spots,
Absolutely.
prioritize precision, think like a founder, speak like a human, etc. And
Absolutely.
it's still, you can only train it so much, but it's definitely an improvement.
But you do have to train it.
I use mine almost every day for the last 3-4 years, or whenever it came out.
Sure.
You have to treat it like a child.
Of course, it's amazing that, COVID and everything was happening about the same damn time, right? So people are sitting around trying to figure this stuff out. Book sales spiked during COVID, right? Because everyone's sitting at home, in quarantine, trying to go, oh, shit, what am I going to do? Kindle book sales spiked huge.
Honestly, you have to treat it like a kid. Garbage in, garbage out. If you don't explain
absolutely,
clearly, then it's just useless. But what about some of the other AI softwares and things like there's tools for literally everything now. There's thousands of AI softwares. Do you use any of those for anything or?
Yep. I've got one other. Jeff Walker has an AI tool called Launchy. He spent a year or more having his crew train it in his product launch formula. Okay. On how to launch a product. And I don't know if you know anything about Jeff, but he's all about making your marketing an event, right? You launch every day. And to use a basic example, it's no different than the new iPhone coming out, that type of thing. They're always kind of like teasing you saying, in August, Apple's going to change the world again and shit like that, right? And they do all of this lead up and that type of thing. And so you've got this opportunity to get the new tech and then the transition, okay? And finally the ownership, right? And by the time they open the damn doors on the damn store to buy the new phone that day, they get people lined up around the damn block, right? Which is the difference between marketing and sales, right? Marketing lined them up. Sales got them out the damn door with a phone, okay? That's the difference between marketing and sales. But that process was huge, and I always knew that was not something I was the best at. So I always spent time trying to really learn more and more about marketing and the emotional connection with things and that type of stuff, which has a lot to do with transition. All right, it's about who do you want to become, right? And they see Cowboy, and it's like, damn, this guy's been in Saudi, he's been in Ukraine, he's been in Africa, he's been on the damn North Pole. You know, he worked for the royal family of Saudi Arabia in the Ministry of Interior, got married in Ukraine, lives in South America, and just keeps going. It's like, I want to be that dude, right? Okay? That's your transition, right? It's like right now I get surveys that says that people feel overlooked, they don't feel appreciated, they don't feel valued, they don't feel like they get the promotions that they deserve. Every single person that's gone to my Project Victory success team has ended up with promotion, and that includes the Deputy Director of IT for the United Nations.
Wow. It's quite impressive. What is next for you and for Project Victories? You know, the next 6 to 12 months, you know, you talked about kind of transformation and the next version of, I guess I'm putting it on you, so next version of you. What do you got going on? Any big experiments, kind of exciting things?
Yeah, actually, what's today?
Today is December 4th.
So 2 days ago, in the middle of the night, 2 days ago, because it was suggested to me by a person from the UK that was the original co-host for the podcast, BizUnLearned. Now it's my godson that's co-hosting, but he was the original co-host. He was like, listen, it's like you're doing shit with the United Nations and everything else. It's like you really need to put together an executive version of the success team. You know, one of those $2,500 per month per person type of things, because you can talk to these guys and they don't have anybody really to talk to and get them straightened out, you know, that type of thing. And you can probably use that for a basis of a new book. And so that's what I've been working on the last few days, using AI as my assistant. That's what I've been working on the last few days, is putting this program in place and getting it ready to launch at the beginning of the year, because of course it's Christmas time, right?
Yeah. Well, that's very exciting, and I look forward to kind of seeing it all unravel. Thank you so much for joining. The stories are great. The insights are great. I love the energy you brought. If you want to shout out anything, you know, books, LinkedIn, website, anything like that, now's the time.
Well, of course, I got my big book, Guide to Project Management Life Cycles. That's like the cornerstone, Guide to Project Management Life Cycles, which is like the encyclopedia on all the project management life cycles that exist in the world today. The huge one after that was Insane in Ukraine, which we're looking at to make a movie out of, which has me bouncing all over Bahrain, Moldova, Egypt, Saudi Arabia, Ukraine. I mean, South America. It's got me going everywhere. So that's a big one. People love it. It's written very conversationally. And then now we're working on unlearned leadership. You know, that's what we're really going to be looking on. And unlearned leadership, whatever title we decided to settle on there, is going to involve 20 senior executives, and probably including my buddy at the United Nations, doing interviews and turning that into what to forget about when it comes to leadership.
Okay, great. What is it? Just one quick last question before we kind of wrap up here, but what's the kind of reaction they get to seeing a cowboy?
Well, the best example I can give you right now, which only happened a couple of days ago, okay, is I'm up here in the mountains, right? I get a waterfall right outside the window. It's the Andes Mountains, 6,000 feet up in the air, right? It's a small place, like 14,000 people. I go to the ATM to make a withdrawal at 4 p.m., right? And when I go to the ATM to make a withdrawal, across the street at the other bank is a guy who's a partner, an American, who's a partner in a bar. And he goes, "Hey, cowboy, what's up?" He goes, "I actually feel safe at the bank now." Then I end up at the bar. I got home 8 hours later at midnight.
Woke up with an IV in the arm.
Absolutely.
All right.
So, yeah, it's really good to have this community. And, of course, a number of people are the director of the mission critical group that I was in, the director at the time, was really great. And he was from Scotland, and eventually he went back because his son was going to college. And I probably haven't physically seen him for 20 years, all right? And he's back in Scotland now. And he knows I'm all over the damn place. But if this is a situation about being entrepreneurial and name recognition, he calls me up probably 8 years ago. And he goes, "Where the hell are you living these days?" I'm like, "I'm down in South America. Why?" And he goes, "You want to go to Germany?" I'm like, "Sure, let's go to Germany." He goes, "I think I need your help." And I'm like, "Okay."
Oh, that's awesome. All right. Well, William, this is great. Thank you so much for all the stories and everything. I had a great time, and this is a good conversation, so it's going to make for
Me
a
too,
good
man.
episode. Thanks for showing up. And yeah, until next time, this is the Pipeline of People podcast.